Hi everybody, this is Lars from CADCamStuff.com. In this little video, I just wanted to take on a challenge that MFG.com put in one of my favorite trade magazines. I came across a pretty clever ad they put in there where they were putting up, can you make this part? And I thought that, yeah, I could make this part, and I could make this one in SolidWorks, and could also make it in CamWorks. But, you know, looking at this part, many people looking for best practices and what tools do we have available in SolidWorks and CamWorks to do a part like that. So I thought it could be funny in this video here to try to model this part up in SolidWorks, and just you know, I can show you how I would approach this part and what kind of tricks that we have available. So I'm gonna go jump into to SolidWorks, and I'm gonna open up a metric part template. That is what this part is the drawing is displaying in. I'm going to go to my front plane, and I'm going to open up a sketch on that. And I'm going to start with one of my tools that I'm many times using in SolidWorks, a rectangular here. And I'm going to just hold down my right mouse button and move up so I get my measuring tool. And I'm going to give it a width, what in this case is 60. And it's 60 this way here. And we're going to go ahead and just extrude this one out. And it's supposed to be 40 millimeters long here. So we start out with something pretty basic here. If we go back and look at this little model here, we see that we got our rectangle 60 by 60. We're going to put some chambers on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the chamfer tool. Pretty straightforward. It's 8 by 45, and I'm just going to go ahead here and just click each edge. It's only 4 mouse clicks like that. So that will put that on. Go back to my isometric view. And the other thing we see here is we got a hole go right through it, and we can do that too, right? We normally end with we normally wait with the hardest till the end. So I'm going to click on that face. I'm going to open up a sketch. I'm going to use one of my favorite tools, normal 2, and I'm going to go ahead here and just sketch a circle from the origin point in the middle. And again, hold down my right mouse button, move up, and get my measuring tool right there. And this one here is 43 in diameter, like that. Again, that's going to be a extruded cut, and we can go down here to through all, right? That's a good clever way to do that. So now we got our hole through here. Now when it comes to the side slots we're looking at here, we see that there's 2 slots coming in that goes all the way through, but they're identical ones, but they're kind of like rotated 90 degrees. So this is where I kind of like think that it's kind of fun to see how different people approach different stuff. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go ahead here and open a sketch on this face here, and again I'm going to go normal 2, and I'm actually going to go over to my line tool and let it snap coincidence to my origin and just go horizontally out like that. Okay, right click and hit select, and I'm actually going to click on the line and use the little tool to make it into construction geometry. Because what I want to use is, if I go to tools, sketch tools, I actually have the dynamic mirroring tool in here. And if I go and use that, I'm going to select the center line. I get 2 vertical lines here that tells me that dynamic mirroring is turned on. I'm going to go up and hit the line tool, make it coincident here, sketch up, and come back over to my origin, hold down my left mouse button, and then I get an arc tool up there automatically, right? And as you can see up above, that with the dynamic mirroring, I am actually going ahead here and making a dynamic mirror of the other part. So at this point here, I sketched it around, I closed it. I'm going to put a dimension on this here, what's going to be 3, and you see everything is symmetrical. So this one will follow this one. I'm going to put a dimension from this edge to this edge, what's going to be 8. And if you come to this point and you're thinking, why is my sketch still blue? The easiest way is just to grab a point with the left mouse button, move it up and down, and you can see that, oh, okay, we got to put some kind of a dimension on there. So let's hit the smart dimension. And that is 26 millimeters from this edge to the center point. 26, like that. And suddenly the whole thing is fully defined, right? So now we can go over here to our feature, extrude cut. And again, I'm just going to cut all the way through, right? Like that. And now if I go into my isometric view, we have handled 1 slot going through there. So we handled that side one. Let's do the top one. Now this is where we could start a new sketch up on this face here and do the same thing over, but just being lazy, that's alright in CAD and CAM to be a little bit lazy. I'm gonna go ahead here and I'm just gonna click on my plus sign here on the first sketch I just created, click on the sketch, and I'm gonna see Control C, copy, and then I'm gonna go up and click on the top face here and do a Control V. So basically I just took that sketch and I pasted it up on top. So that's a pretty neat way that you don't have to sketch everything over and over again, right? Just steal from another one. Now as you can see, it's not coming up, it's a little bit rotated. We need to do something with the sketch. We can't use it like this. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to go to edit sketch, and now I'm inside the sketch here, and I'm going to use another pretty neat tool under the sketch tools. There is actually one down here called modify. I'm going to click on that one, and in here I can actually just rotate it 90 degrees like that. See that? Whoop, flew right around there, and it's 90 degrees from it. So now with this point I can start putting some dimensions on this one, and I'm going to go to my smart dimension. I'm going to make a dimension from this edge to this edge, and that is 25.5. okay, and we can see that those line guards black, so that's fully defined. I can also see that I probably need to add a dimension from this face to the center again, right? And that was 26. So now that's turning black there. I'm going to right click and go to the select tool. I'm going to make a relationship between this line and this line by holding down my control key and make that collinear. Okay, so now you'll see this is fully defined, but this is still floating around because this center line here haven't been defined yet. So I'm just going to go and click on this face, go normal to here. That's the easiest, right? And I'm just going to go and click on this center line, hold down control, and go over here and snap on this point so I can put it right to the midpoint. And now you'll see that one is fully defined. So now, with fully defined down here in the box, we can go over here, we can do an extrude cut and say through all like this, and now you will see that we got those two features created like that. The last thing we have here is we got some tapped holes, and of course for these here we would prefer to use the hole wizard hole in SolidWorks, so we're going to do that. Hole wizard, and it's going to be some M6. I'm just going to go ahead first in positioning them, and I normally just throw, if it's just like 4 holes here, I normally just throw them on here right like this. Maybe I go normal too, and then we're just going to throw some dimensions on it here. So we have 2 dimensions. We have a dimension from the origin to this point here, and that is going to be 13.25, and we then also would have one from this point to the origin here, and that is 23. So now this one is fully defined here. Now what I normally just like to do is I'm just doing the other one over here. So I'm going to do the identical ones of this one. It's pretty easy now. I got the dimensions showing right on my screen for my first hole, right? So I'm going to go ahead here and do, whoops, go ahead here and hit the, let me just smart dimension from here to here, and this one here is going to be 23. And now what I normally do is I just use relations for the rest of them. So I can click on this one to this one because that top hole is defined and this hole is defined. I can make this vertical, then I can make this one and this one horizontal, and now that hole will be fully defined, right? Because I got those relations. So that's how I normally just do it. So from this point to this one, I'm going to make that vertical, and this one to this one, I'm going to make that horizontal. So now suddenly those are fully defined. Now one thing I didn't do though is you can see how they go through the whole plate. So I'm just going to go over here back to my type and go down to my end condition, and I'm just going to do up to surface. So I can click on this face here. There they are. Okay. So now you can see we put those in there. Get rid of all those dimensions. Right click. Get rid of the feature dimensions. I gotta do the same thing on the back side. Now on the back side, I'm also going to use hole wizard, and I'm also just going to go ahead here and place them first. 1, 2, 3, 4. But now don't want to do dimensions. Oops, I jumped out of it. Let me just go back in there. This time I'm just going to use the holes I positioned on the other side of the part here. So I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to hit that point, hold down control, hit this edge, make that concentric, go over, hit this point to this edge and make that concentric, and we can go over here and do this point to this edge while I'm holding down control key. We'll make that concentric, and lastly this point to this edge here, concentric. And then of course the last thing I have to do is the same thing here. This one cuts all the way through. Let's go back to type and go into up to surface, click on this face here, and there you go. There we have our part. And if you look at the drawing, it should be pretty much what MFG.com challenged us with, and can you make this part? And I think we actually just did in SolidWorks. So not too hard to make a part like this in SolidWorks. I hope that you enjoyed this little video. I hope you picked up maybe a trick you didn't know, or maybe just needed to be reminded that it existed. If you have any questions or comments, you can go to catcamstuff.com, or you can also email me at Lars, Lars at catcamstuff.com. So just for this little video, thank you very much, and please go and check out mfg.com, and they have some pretty neat stuff there, and thank you so much.